I went to was at the Clare County.
I have
Fairgrounds.
one, a small one,
And it,
but
it
it's
had
like,
rained a lot, and the ground wasn't
an old
very
shake
level.
roof.
It was
It's
frickin'
not a smooth.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Present.
Councilmember Green.
Green, I'm here.
Councilmember Beltran.
Present.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Present.
Mayor Meister.
Present. Okay, we'll move on to oral communication. This is the opportunity to address the city council on any matter scheduled for closed session. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. If you would like to speak about something with closed session, please come forward at this time. I'm not seeing anyone, so we'll move on to closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, we have 6 items on the closed session agenda. The first item is Government Code Section 54956.95, a liability claim, claimant Linda Douglas, agency claimed against, City of Porterville. Item number 2, Government Code Section 54956.95, another liability claim, claimant Marissa Rodriguez, agency claimed against, City of Porterville. Third item is Government Code Section 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, AAB versus City of Porterville et al., U.S. District Court, Eastern District, case number 125CV00261EPG. Item number 4, Government Code Section 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Big Business LLC, a Delaware Limited Liability Corporation et al. Versus City of Porterville, Tulare County Superior Court case number PCU 327136. Item number 5, Government Code Section 54956.9D4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation, 2 cases. And the final item on the agenda is Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Annual Evaluation, title City Attorney.
Okay, with that, we will move into closed session and reconvene at 6:30. Okay, we'll reconvene open session and report on any reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. On item A1, the claim of Linda Douglas, on a motion by Councilmember Rivas and seconded by Councilmember Green in a 5-0 vote, that claim was denied.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then with regard to item number A2, claim of Marissa Rodriguez, on a motion by Councilmember Beltran, seconded by Vice Mayor McCurvey in a 5-0 vote, that claim was denied. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor McCurvey, and then please remain standing for anyone that wants to give an invocation.
Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, bless this meeting and our city. We are thankful for the liberties we enjoy as a republic. Guide this council to make decisions that reflect justice, promote the general welfare, and honor our shared civic duty. Strengthen us to work together for the good of Porterville and honor of our nation. Protect our first responders, those who are serving, and our citizens. Amen.
Amen. Is there anyone else? Please be seated. Okay, we'll move on to council comments. Councilman Beltran. Okay, Councilman Green,
Nor do I, none today, thank you.
Councilman Rivas,
No comment.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Well, just have a couple of things I'd like to say. You know, February's here already. The new year is off and running, and it's off to a good start. We're going to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday on the 12th. We're going to have a happy Valentine's Day on the 14th, and George Washington's birthday is on the 16th. I really want to start the meeting on a high note because we've achieved so much in the past year in ameliorating the homeless issues and safety issues around our town. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Porterville Rescue Mission for the hard work that they've done, and the outcomes that they've had at that center have been terrific, and I think we need to continue to lift them up, and all those around them in the community organizations and the churches that are doing so much to help this problem that we have in our city. It's gotten so much better over the last few years, and especially last year. We've made some really great progress with all of the community support and just pulling together and lifting up those that need help. And I just wanted to say, you know, just for contrast, you know, in 2023, the River Parkway was a no-go zone for a lot of people and for most people, and it was tough back then. But now, 3 years later, we have a parkway that is now improved. We've got families enjoying that area. We've gotten rid of the graffiti. We're protecting our infrastructure, and we now have a place for the public to gather, and that's because everyone has pulled together to do that, and it's just a great thing to see. So I want to start on a positive note. There's going to be a big event out at the Parkway coming up in February, and I'm looking forward to going out there and enjoying that with everyone else. I did want to mention one thing. I'm getting a lot of conversations out in District 4 around Lombardi. They've now finished the Brookside subdivision almost completely, and they're building out there, but they're painting some curbs red, and there's some parking issues there, and that extreme bottleneck that's on the south side of Lombardi. And so we're going to take another look at that and see what we can do to continue to focus on that. There's only one ingress and egress for that school, and according to state law, now that that's in the city limits, that's not kosher. It's not according to the law. So we have to get another road. I know we're working on that and diligently, and it's been a long time coming because that project started in 2006 when the school made a promise to get a second ingress and egress, and they didn't follow through on that promise. And then there was a promise made to get the second ingress and egress by 2013 before the school opened, and it didn't happen. Then when the Brookside subdivision came in, they were going to make that road wider so that you could have a turning lane on Lombardi and Westfield, And that didn't happen. Even after it was voted in, it was changed later. And so now you still have an extreme bottleneck at Westfield and Lombardi, and it's impacting our students, and it's impacting their families, because most of the kids that go to that school are driven to that school. It's not a normal school because it's a charter school, so people come from all over. So everybody has to sit in that traffic for 20 to 40 minutes in the morning and 20 to 40 minutes at night now for many years. So it continues to be a problem for us, and I want to continue to raise that issue and awareness and continue to have the discussions with the community. We have to solve that problem. Hopefully, we can solve it this year. That's what I want to start with this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, I wanted to talk about some of the things that been working on within the city and just to bring it to the constituents of Porterville. We had a major accident on Highway 65 once again at Linda Vista, where you could turn left onto Linda Vista. So brought it to our engineering department, and we need to work with Caltrans and find a solution there. Also, discussions on the light at Newcomb and Mulberry. I'm hoping to see that go into construction this summer. And then stop sign or crosswalk at Castle and Prospect within my district. Stop sign, the consultant or the survey that they did came back that it didn't call for a stop sign, so I'm hoping that we can get some kind of crosswalk in that area for those kids crossing there. Some of the meetings I've had this month, I've met with our city attorney, Julia. Thank you for your time, and we discussed different things that are going on in the city and making sure that we are sound. And then also met with our chief of police, Bobby, and we talked about law and order and how to continue the approach and what we're doing here in the city of Porterville. So I greatly appreciate both of you for your time on that. And then I did a shop local initiative. I'm starting something new that no mayor before me has done, and really the goal is to create local sensation around our businesses. And so a shop local initiative is to go downtown and go into the storefronts and do like a 3-minute video of highlighting businesses in our community. And so I had the great honor of the first one I did with staff Maggie Salazar, so thank you, Maggie, and Claudia. I don't see her in the room, but I thank you for the help there as well. We were able to go into the vault and do a little interview of Sam and talked about the vault and some of his ideas for expansion. We're going to be having a new parking lot coming in there where the old J.C. Penney's used to be. You see it on the agenda tonight for $1.2 million. And so that'll be, the finish of downtown or finishing up Main Street. And so we're really excited about that. Glad to see it on the agenda tonight. But it was a great honor to go in the vault and do that. I will be making a motion on this, and this has to do with the mileage tax. They voted AB 1421 to extend the Technical Advisory Committee through 2035. And one thing I've learned getting behind the scenes and seeing how government works is they get a consultant, and the elected staff get with the consultant and they tell them what they want to see done. And so this is a plan over the next 9 years to bring a mileage tax to the state of California. And they're talking about 6 cents to 9 cents a mile, which is going to impact us all deeply. And so we need to be aware and we need to make noise on this. And so I would like to make a motion that we do a letter of opposition to the members that voted for this advisory committee. That would be my motion on the table.
I think that's a terrific idea. I've been seeing that on the news, and the fact that they've extended that to 2035 means they're serious about doing it, so I will second that motion.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Are there any other comments on that? We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Present.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran. Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye. Was that an aye vote with the present, you said?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so passes 4 and abstain. Okay, with that, we will move on to our presentations. Employee of the Month, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We have two presentations tonight. First out of the gate is our Employee of the Month, which will be from our police department, and I've asked our interim chief, Bobby Radar, to provide the staff report. Chief?
Good evening. Could I ask our friends to my left, my right, and the council, would you assist me in a little drum roll, please? We have the Robin Johnson. I was just kidding. I was just
The people
kidding.
online are driven crazy right now.
Thank you for the drum roll. Thank you. What I'm about to read does not do justice for Robin and what she has accomplished at the police department and for the city of Porterville. And I wish I could have been better with this, but I'll do my best for you. It's my honor to recognize our Employee of the Month, Communications Supervisor Robin Johnson. Robin was born here in Porterville, but grew up all over the country while her father served in the United States Marine Corps. From that upbringing, she learned discipline, resilience, and a deep sense of service, values that define her work to this day. Robin began her public safety career as a dispatcher with the Tulare County Sheriff's Office in 2000 and joined the Porterville Police Department in 2001. She has served as communication dispatcher, senior communications dispatcher, and since 2019 has been the communications supervisor. Robin's leadership has been instrumental in moving this department forward. In 2019, she managed the complete renovation and modernization of the Communications Center. In 2020, during an incredibly challenging time, she was a lead team member in the implementation of department-wide training of our new Motorola CAD and RMS systems, work that has directly improved how we serve this community today. Today, Robin oversees the daily operations of the Communications Center and ensures our compliance with the Department of Justice requirements, state and federal standards, licensing, and FCC regulations. She is also playing a key role in our Motorola radio system upgrade. What truly sets Robin apart is how she has led through the years of staffing shortages, stress, personal challenges. She has stepped up repeatedly, filling shifts, supporting her team, handling difficult situations, and absorbing pressure so others could keep going. Man, I tell you, what I've seen her do is incredible. She leads with calm, fairness, and compassion, always putting the mission and her people first. While she gives so much to this department, Robin is also deeply devoted to her family. Her husband, Matt, their children, Caden and Addison, and their dogs, Betty, Barney, and Cheyenne. When she gets the chance to step away from the radios, which is not often, you'll often find her with her family cheering on the LA Kings. Robin, your dedication, personal sacrifice, and steady leadership have carried this communication center through some of its hardest years. You've made us better, stronger, and more prepared to serve. On behalf of the Porterville Police Department and the community that we serve, it is my privilege to present you with the Employee of the Month Award. Please do.
No, I just wanted to actually thank my family for all the missed holidays and missed time, and then apologize to my coworkers who had to spend 12-hour days with me. And then also just to the city for providing us the resources to make sure everybody does come home. We appreciate it. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, I gotta, before you run, I gotta state that Chief Radar, excuse me, has, well, I know, I'm so guilty. So just has talked about you and very highly of you. I think he called you a magic worker at one time, and what you're able to do in dispatch. And just want to say on behalf of the city, we are very appreciative of the hard work that you dedicate to this city. And what you do is so important. And so we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the recognition.
Yes.
May I say something?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you too, Robin. You know, it's great to get to meet you this year, and we actually got to know each other a little bit better at the Gold Star meeting that we had after that tragic accident, meeting with that family. And it was it was amazing how much love there was in that room and how much support there was for you and the other members of the police department that were involved. But the communication and the detail and those things, they really shone through that compassion and that caring. And just want to say thank you very much from behalf of the city council.
Would you, if no other, I'm not seeing anyone else wanting to talk, so would you give us a great honor of taking a picture with us?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Mayor, second presentation, if we can invite my mom and family members up to the front. The mayor and council would like to recognize my father, former Mayor Steve Tree.
You're perfectly fine right there. And, you know, it's a great honor to have the Tree family in. It's never easy when family passes, right? And we wanted to take the time to honor your father, your grandfather, and your husband for the dedication he had to this city, the selflessness, right? And so it's a great honor to have you all here today. And I'd like to read what we've put together for you. In honor of the life and lasting contributions of Stephen E. Tree, whose distinguished public service and civic leadership significantly advanced the city of Porterville and strengthened its community. Mr. Tree served with dedication and integrity as an elected member of the Porterville City Council from 1981 to 1985, including 2 years as mayor. During his tenure, he's demonstrated a steadfast commitment to responsible governance, collaboration, and long-term community leadership. Among his many civic contributions, Mr. Tree was instrumental, alongside fellow former mayors, in the development of the Porterville Leadership Program, helping to cultivate, inform, and engage civic leaders for the future of the city. Following his service on the city council, he continued his commitment to Porterville through 23 years of appointed service of the Porterville Redevelopment Advisory Committee, offering consistent guidance on the redevelopment and economic progress. In addition to his municipal service, Mr. Tree devoted more than 4 decades to the Porterville community as executive director of the Porterville Sheltered Workshop, supporting vocational opportunities and inclusive community development until his retirement in 2011. His dedication to service was further recognized when he was named Porterville Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year in 1993, and through 15 years of service with the Porterville Rotary Club. Stephen E. Tree's leadership and commitment to public service leave an enduring legacy within the city of Porterville. His contributions helped shape civic programs, strengthen community institutions, and exemplify the values of service and stewardship. So we'd like to present to the family today this certificate from the city, but also what we've done is we're taking a new role in honoring the fallen mayors. And so we fly our city flag at half-mast for a week, and today we have that flag for you to present to your family. So I'd like to give that to you.
No, I'm just, thank you all for your time and your effort. It make our city grow to such a great place. Is this yours or mine?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That was never easy, so thank you. Thank you all for coming. Okay, with that, we will move on to reports. Does council have any, I trust that council had an opportunity to look at all the reports. Does council have any questions for staff? No?
No, not at this time. No.
Okay, just one thing I want to highlight, because I think it's just amazing to see this number dropping, but on code enforcement with homeless encampments, there was only 50 reported this quarter, and in the past, I've seen 150, 100, and we're watching it dwindle down. And so this is a show in numbers or in the data that we are making progress. And so I just want to tell the staff, great job. Keep up the work, keep pushing hard, and the citizens of Porterville greatly appreciate it. Okay, with that, we will move on to oral communication. This is the opportunity to address the council on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Please address all items not scheduled for public hearing at this time. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes.
My name is Diane Wagner, otherwise known as an old white liberal. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to begin by thanking you for your concern for the seniors who were living at Autumn Oaks. No one should ever live in unsafe, degrading conditions, especially our elders. Your willingness to speak out to the state of California on their behalf matters, and it reflects values many of us share: dignity, safety, and compassion for those who cannot easily advocate for themselves. And that is exactly why I'm here tonight. Because as we rightly express outrage over the treatment of housed seniors, this same council is simultaneously removing safety nets for unhoused residents, people who are also elderly, disabled, medically fragile, and vulnerable. That contrast is difficult to reconcile. If it is appropriate to demand accountability and humane conditions for seniors inside a care facility, then why is it acceptable to close shelters, remove sanctioned spaces, and eliminate protections for people living outside, many of whom are seniors themselves? Compassion should not depend on whether someone has a roof. The unhoused are not a separate moral category. They are not less deserving of safety, sanitation, or dignity. They are not a problem to be managed. They are people to be protected. Tonight I ask this council to reflect on the values behind your letter. If we can demand urgency from the state when housed seniors are harmed, we should demand the same urgency from ourselves when our own policy decisions place unhoused residents at risk. This is not an either-or choice. We care deeply about seniors in daycare facilities and care deeply about those without shelter. In fact, true leadership requires both. Thank you for standing up for vulnerable seniors. I urge you to extend that same compassion, consistency, and moral clarity to every vulnerable person in this community.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner.
Good evening, I'm Karen Anderson. This is for the record, as well as all of you, folks here in attendance, folks who might be watching or listening on YouTube. This kind of related to the comments that were just made. I want to do kind of a follow-up on comments that I made at the last meeting on January 20th regarding population on the east side of Porterville. I don't expect the city to build all types of communities and tract homes over there, but in the general area close to Granite Hills High School, there's a church over there. There should be some type of development, even if it's just apartments for the folks over there to live in. By bringing them up, increasing their standards, the appeal of their homes will help to bring up their spirits. Maybe 20, 25 minutes into the last meeting was when the mayor mentioned that he'd gone to Alta Vista and spoken to the avid students over there. Nothing was mentioned on what was said, so I got a little bit ticked off that he got fired up at the comments that I'd made. I did not mean that in a critical way. To me, if you're going to speak as a city council for the population of the town, of the city, those people over there help support the businesses in this city. So someone needs to advocate for them and to help them. They are people. They do pay taxes. They do, as I said, shop and support the businesses in this town. One of the things that was mentioned was incentivize growth. How do you do that? Well, you develop the area, but you also, in addition to just talking to the people, you need to have something literal, something physical. By developing the area, that shows that you're not just talking, you're not just spewing out words. You are interested in helping them to grow. So I encourage you to do that. It shows a genuine interest and concern for them as people, as citizens, and for their future, for their students, their kids. So please rethink that. It's based on respect. That's one of the big components of patriotism is respect. Respect for country, respect for the people, respect for the residents, respect for the citizens in the community. Help do something to help these people show that we respect them, to build their self-respect. And yes, I also am an old white liberal.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Hello, I'm glad to see you, Mr. Green, that you're feeling better and that you're here. Yes. Porterville citizens, oh, by the way, I'm Jean Vafiatis, Records. Porterville citizens, please be aware of what current council is up to. More money for city projects, but no mention of additional money being saved for a library. Instead, they mockingly agree with Corey Wells and others who hold up their cell phones, stating this is the library. Corey Wells managed the campaign of one of the current council members. Carefully listen to this meeting tonight. The council wants to move forward, Porterville participating as a member of a newly forming California Charter Cities Association. The council will tell you it gives Porterville more control over Porterville. No, it gives them, the council, more power to make decisions to give themselves more power, not you. According to a news article last fall, Mr. Meister thanked those who support his campaign and boasted, "You helped me flip the city council. COVID, am I in the communist California? 2020 election was stolen. I've been through 4 city managers during my tenure," he said with pride. "I dismantled the administrative side of Porterville. We can create our own laws within our own boundaries with changes to the city charter." Just look at how many former Porterville city managers, staff in various fields, and high-ranking police are suddenly gone. As a side note, I'd like to let listeners know that very late in the meetings, when most people have left, Mr. McCurvey and Mr. Meister make unfavorable, rude comments about those who speak during oral comments. Portervillians are diverse. They believe in equity. They want to be included in making decisions for Porterville. Check out YouTube this week to catch up on what you may miss tonight. The meetings are taped. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, council members. My name is Leslie Betancourt. I would like to thank Vice Mayor McCurvey, for taking time to review the PCAN website. Your visit increased engagement and generated positive feedback. We appreciate it. Thank you. I want to directly address statements made at last month's meeting regarding alleged affiliations between PCAN and other organizations. Those statements are incorrect, and I'd like to clarify the record. The organizations referenced, such as ACLU, the Trevor Project, etc., appear on the resource page of our website. This page exists solely to provide information about special support services available to individuals seeking help for a wide range of needs. If one continues through the page, it also includes local organizations such as Central Valley Food Bank, Family Crisis Center here in Porterville, and at no point does our website state or imply that PCAN is affiliated with any of these organizations. The resources page is exactly that, a list of resources. Hold on one sec, I'm sorry. Okay. These organizations address issues including mental health, food insecurity, homelessness, and injustice, and are included so community members to know where support is available. On behalf of the Porterville Community Action Network, which is in fact a nonpartisan group of like-minded citizens who are working together for the betterment of their community, their state, and their country, we thank you for reviewing our website.
Thank you, Ms. Betancourt. Good evening, Mayor. My name's Damon Nelson. I'm a drummer for a punk rock band from Porterville, Poplar, called Revoltariat. Your comments about the homeless, needing county jail, that being a form of compassion, it's very, very misguided, and I don't know if you've been to jail, but there's nothing compassionate about it. And I have, and I know it's not compassionate. You're closing down the Armory and allegedly the women's shelter also, and you're replacing it with nothing. This is my big concern. We don't care, as my vocalist Austin Slater told you, we don't care if you're patriotic. We think that's cool. What we have a problem with is you dehumanizing the homeless. And as somebody who's a hop and a skip it away from that, I took offense to that. And I made a video highlighting and criticizing your comments. And that video, it's gotten a lot of traction across the Central Valley. There's a lot of eyes on this. And my band, we're not going to stop until everybody sees what is going on here. And what is going on here is a misappropriation of funds, and that's a federal offense. And the homeless people that I've been talking to every day want you to know that. They also suggest a two-shelter solution, one to house non-users, one to house users. You put rehabilitation resources in the shelter for the users, right? Nobody needs to go unhoused. I don't care if you're using or not. Those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Good evening, gentlemen. Taha Saleh, address on file. Man, I missed you guys last week, or 2 weeks ago. And good to see you, Mr. Green. I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you. Let's see. The main thing I want to talk about is you guys are on point with a lot of the ideas. I think the messaging might might need some revising. Sometimes I just hold my head down like, man, these are great ideas, but why you got to do things a certain way and come from like a very divisive way, using words like Antifa and words like blue hair. It's not uniting. And so my advice is just be uniting. Just do the things that you have a plan to do. You want to fix the roads. You know the library. We don't have the money for a big library, but we also don't have the money to do celebrations. We also don't have the money for these big, huge playgrounds. We don't have the money to do podcasts. So my ask is just be mindful. Mindful. You want to bring everybody together. You talk about patriotism. And so my invitation is unity. Just unite. Just get rid of those extra words, because today you guys are up there and you're creating these situations like with the city, the zoning, giving all the power to our city manager. I think Richard Tree's a great guy. I think he'll do a great job. But when you give that kind of power to somebody and it's not somebody that has the best intentions of the city, then there's unintended consequences. There's reasons why we have checks and balances. So my concern with this downtown zone and creating the zone czar is that we're going to concentrate power into one person's hands and we're going to skip the PRC. I find the PRC to be a really great tool, and I hope that doesn't go away. And finally, when it comes to the Charter Cities Association bylaws, I read the report, and it sounds like there's a lot of headwinds, and we're waiting for a state ruling to be overturned. And I just don't like spending money. It doesn't sound right. I don't like spending money when we don't need to. So, you know, we've got $10 million, $11 million, I think, that we got to make up. My hope is that we just kind of buckle down and get the job done. So, thanks for the time. I need to do a better job of writing stuff down, but I guess I speak from the heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh.
Dude. Greg Shelton at 8 North Wilford Drive. Unlike Mr. Salah, I kind of like the idea of a zone czar. We had one for 18 years, and it was a city planner, and it didn't work out real well. Didn't really go, lost a lot of businesses, didn't get a lot of new businesses because they followed the code so rigidly. So I think this is a good development. I think it's a good idea. Anything that they do or don't do is appealable to the council. So for once, I think we actually got something that took some red tape out of the situation and gave power back to the council to be able to go in and expedite the situation. Item number 23, it's authorization in the consent calendar. Leave of absence for Mr. Smotherman. He's on my charter review committee. He's going to go serve his country, and he's an alternate, and he's been to every meeting, and the meetings he couldn't attend, he zoomed in from an airport to make sure he was always involved. So I hope that we grant him that leave of absence because he's the deal. Number 30, consideration of the city council revision for allowing for another city council ability to address the public after oral communications. Now, there's nothing I don't want any more than politicians talking, because God bless them, they talk enough. But in this situation, I've watched where oral communications has devolved to the point where it just becomes a hit and run tactic from the Antifa, the Springville Antifa crowd that we get in here. And I think it's unfair. I think that I'm all for free speech, but when it devolves down to defamatory and dangerous speech, we got the Antifa faction calling the mayor a fascist. You know what I mean? We've got a gentleman last week that spoke, on comments about another councilman that I know are nowhere but on a hit piece in a newspaper in the comments section, and spoke of them as if they were truth. So I always like to say that a lie unrefuted becomes a truth, and I think that if we're going to allow for people to pretty much say whatever they want short of threatening or vulgar, then I think the council should be able to have the right to refute those things, and in real time, not 5 hours later when it's lost all of its energy. So those 3 items I'm a fan of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton.
I disagree with Shelton. I think that the mayor is a fascist, and I believe...
Please state your name for the record.
Yeah, you know my name. You know my name. You have it on file. I believe that, the mayor is for sure a fascist, for sure the whole city council, the city staff, and I would even say most of the people here in the room, too. I don't think that the people here are taking any of this seriously at all when it comes to the homeless issue whatsoever. For over a year, we've been told that we must choose the library, the shelter, compassion, or physical reality. This is a political fiction. The real story is in the documents. The housing element admits that we need nearly 1,400 low-income units, while we assist only 4 households a year with federal funds. The census estimates that over 500 long-term vacant homes stand alongside 227 unsheltered neighbors. We are a community with a combined city, school, and hospital budget approaching $1 billion. Yet, our municipal budget allocates $0 for affordable housing and construction. We are not resource poor, we are alignment poor. Every institution here pays a hidden tax on this crisis. Sierra View pays in emergency overruns. The schools pay in support for over 100 homeless students and their families. And city budgets pay in police calls and cleanup costs. Earlier, when I heard Mr. McCurvey's message about the community coming together and doing so good with the homeless situation, I would disagree 100%. When I think about Porterville, the first thing I think of is Sunkist, and then I start thinking about Walmart, Foster Farms. I start thinking about every little community, right? PUSD, PDC, PEC. All of these partners in this community should be doing more than just paying taxes. All the responsibility does not lie just on the city council or the city staff to figure this issue out. The biggest problem also is that there's no real opposition. The Stonewall Democrats aren't a real group. Pecan isn't a real group. These bands aren't real bands. And so we have an issue to where we really need to come together and understand what the actual issues are. I think that when it comes to Measure H, Measure I, all these measures and bonds, it's very funny because we're talking about pennies, right? The other day I went through McDonald's and I ordered, the little $5 meal and a little sandwich on the side, and I got 3 pennies stolen from me. And that's essentially what we talk about, right? When it comes to politics, a penny, a fraction of a penny, counts just as much as billions of dollars when we look at policy. And I offer the idea that we should figure out a way to tax all the fast food places that are stealing pennies away from locals and put it towards something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Hello, my name is Noah, and I would like to note before I begin that I am a resident of Porterville and I have lived here my entire life. It was extremely disheartening to hear that the news of the armory closing. It was even more disheartening to hear the words said on behalf of this decision. I have friends and family in this city who are currently facing homelessness or have faced homelessness. They are not drug users. They are people trying to survive in a town that grows while the mindset of the people running our city seems to stay stagnant. It's heartbreaking to know that my town's idea of compassion is a jail cell. I'm unsure of how often you all walk around and experience your town, but I walk everywhere. I have seen what your version of compassion looks like, and I have spent a lot of times in the parks that you prefer to fund, watching police find the unhoused people for sleeping, while you subtly add anti-homeless architecture into our public spaces, such as benches you can't quite comfortably lay on, cold metal, oddly slanted surfaces that would normally be flat. They are not problems, they are humans. They are not the problem, they are not the homeless issue, they are human beings. They don't disappear after you shoo them away. They don't disappear after their sentence is over. While the idea of funding our park sounds lovely, it is hard to imagine a positive outcome. Our money is being spent on trivial things like the cosmetics of wrapping our buses in the American flag, raises, and battleship playgrounds. Our town has failed in providing us adequate mental health support and enough entry-level jobs to sustain the incoming need for work, and enough shelter for those who aren't able to support themselves. Addiction is a byproduct of these conditions. Enforcement is not compassion. It creates a cycle of incarceration without ever addressing the root of the issue. Enforcement is the lazy answer for someone who would rather not consider the needs of the people in our community placed in a lower class. Honest compassion is loving your community enough to put the funds into the people, not more cosmetics. And with such a glaring need for more shelters, jobs, and addiction and mental health support, it feels a little bit ridiculous to think playgrounds, more raises for the city, and getting more citizens in cells is what a majority of our city council deems to be the most pressing issues to use our tax dollars. At the very least, I hope that the council may find time in their schedule to make a genuine attempt at a solution that aids the problem instead of flashy decor and repeating cycles of incarceration paid for by our tax dollars. I love our town and I want the best for the people within our town, regardless of their housing status or their sobriety. I have faith that we have elected officials competent enough to find solutions to the problem that we face, rather than placing Band-Aids and giving themselves a pat on the back. I have faith in the compassion of our city and the city holds for our fellow man, created in God's image the same as you or I. I hope that the faith in our local government is well placed and that the people that we have elected care enough about our homeless friends, mothers, sons, sisters, and veterans to give us what we need as a growing city rather than what seems the most appealing to their own image. My final request tonight is that when this meeting disbands, you settle in
Thank you,
and
Noah.
have a bit of dinner, maybe a nice glass of wine or some beer to relax after a long
Thank
day.
you, Noah.
You tuck your children into bed and get cozy in your own bed.
Your time
I
is
want
up,
you to stop
Noah.
and appreciate not only the things that you have access to, but that you can indulge in those in the privacy of your own home, because
wish you had
that
the ability to
option
kill
is
the
not
mic.
there for a lot of people. While over 50%
your
of
time is up,
Americans are
Noah.
the one check
I'm gonna
away from
ask the law
homelessness.
enforcement to come in.
Thank you for your opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, council members, mayor. I'm going to be not so popular tonight, but I'm going to speak from a homeless person's point of view. My name is Lee.
Thank you, sir.
Local pastor, business owner. I'm going to speak from the side of a homeless person because I lived on the river for a while. And it was, as we talked about, it was a cop that arrested me, got me put in jail, that got me put into a program, and is why I'm clean today and why I own a business today and why I am a pastor today. It was because I did get a nudge from a judge.
Thank you.
With that being said, there is truth in what some people are saying about the homeless population and taking their places to sleep away. But one thing I keep hearing over and over and over again is our tax dollars, our tax dollars, our tax dollars. So my thing is this: which is better, to put our tax dollars into a building that will sleep them for a night, let them get out the next day and use again, go back again, sleep for another night, let them get out and go back and use again? Or would it be better to pay our police officers to do their job, which you guys are doing a great job, but to do their job and to arrest each and every one of these that's under the influence just as well as anybody else in our community that's not homeless? And then they can get put into a drug program that way and get clean. That is the way they're offered programs. When you go and you go to an armory, and I'm all for the homeless. We've spoke about this. I support everything when it comes to the homeless, but there's a fine line between helping and enabling. And by just keeping an armory open and only allowing them to sleep there and use in the day and not offering them a rehabilitation point, we're wasting dollars. But when you pay tax dollars and it's used for the officers to do their jobs, which is to arrest the ones that's under the influence, that do have the drug problems, get them put in jail, the judge will require a drug program, then the city is doing their job. So I understand. We just got to make the decision. Do we want to pay our tax dollars on just enabling them to sleep and continue to use it? Or do we want to use our tax dollars to arrest the ones that are criminals, not all of them are, to arrest them and get them put in a situation to where they can get recovery and help and become productive members of society? Because the bottom line is this: they're where they're at because of poor decisions. But their poor decisions has led to a very hard way to try to get clean. It's not easy coming off of drugs. It's very hard. And I was raised in a pastor's home, and I ended up homeless with a needle in my arm. So, and it took me years and years and years, lost 3 families, to get clean, and it was because I got a nudge from a judge because I was arrested. So I think as far as the community is considered, we just need to understand, is it better to arrest these people, get them put in jail, and get a program, or just to continually let them sleep somewhere and continue to use? That's just the question that needs to be looked at. But I do agree with everybody, they're not all criminals, and I told you that. They're not all criminals. But unfortunately, a lot of them are drug addicts, and they do need help. The police department would be a good start for them to get help.
Thank you, Mr. Qualls.
Alexis Espinoza, I live here in Porterville. Just a couple quick things. I reported last week that the registration for Porterville Soccer League was through February. I'm a liar. It ended January 31st. So sorry. I did not get my information on that correct, so I wanted to come up and correct that. Second, Saturday I went to the Porterville Rescue Mission testimony night, and I was really hoping to see at least one of you guys there. It was super awesome. I know you guys are busy, but you missed a moment. And then third, and the last thing I have is I was at Murray Park this morning taking my little walk, and you guys, I know the city is putting a new playground in there, and it's super exciting because that's where I take my son the most. So I'm really looking forward to that playground being up and running. And that's it. Good luck tonight in your meeting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hold the mic down.
Okay. Good evening. I don't have anything prepared, so I won't be very eloquently spoken, but I felt like I had to speak out. My name is Danica McNutt. I am a full-time college student and a full-time first responder. I grew up very patriotic. I love America. I mean, it's founded on all these great ideals, am I right? And one of those, essentially, is self-determination. I know it's really hard to accept that some people use their self-determination to go down a path that we deem less desirable. I'm talking about drug addicts, I'm talking about homeless people. And I'm not saying I'm not saying anything in particular, and I understand that you see them as a nuisance. You go down the street and you see people that aren't put together, and it rubs you a certain way. But whenever I look at them, I see my father, I see my aunt, I see my grandma, I see myself. My father is still homeless. He stays at the Armory, and we are reliant on that. He isn't in a place where he can live with us, and I understand that it strains our community to an extent, but there's no reason to demonize homeless people altogether just because some people make them look bad. I myself was homeless. As I mentioned, I'm a full-time student, a full-time worker. My mom was homeless. She now has a successful homestead where she's only has to rely on herself. My Oma was homeless. She is now a retired RT. My Aunt Donna was homeless. She is now a retired family attorney. These people don't deserve to be sent to prison just because they're homeless. I mean, if they're using, that's one thing, but why are we criminalizing homelessness? I don't think that it's compassion to send them to prison whenever, I mean, people go to prison and they relapse there. That's what happened to my father, and I think that there needs to be change, and I agree with the man who came before me, the one who was a former addict, and I'm glad that he got that nudge from the judge, am I right? Like, thank God, I'm so happy for you, man, but it doesn't work for everybody, and I don't know. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone, so we'll close oral communication and move on to consent calendar. All consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made, in which event the item will be removed from consent calendar. All items removed from consent calendar for further discussion will be heard at the end of scheduled matters. How does council want to go forward?
I'd like to pull items 3, 10, and 20, please.
Okay. We have 3, 10, and 20. Okay, so 3, 10, and 20. Are there any others?
I'd like to pull 13, Mayor.
13. Okay.
And
Are
on a side note, I have a question. That would be it.
okay. All right. So, is there any others? I'll make a motion for all consent calendar items 1 through 32, excluding 3, 10, 20, and 13.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye. Pass.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Before I say aye, I have to amend it because I said 1 through 32, and I meant 1 through 26. So do I need to change my motion, or?
We can just note that. I think that's
Okay,
what's understood.
there's a note for that. It's just a correction on my motion, and aye. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the second reading, starting with number 27. City Attorney?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. tonight's the night for the second reading on ordinance number 1927, which amended Series 200, the downtown districts of the Porterville Development Ordinance. And with that, I would just ask, the recommendation is to approve it and waive any further reading other than by title only. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, bringing it back to the council, is there any questions? Not seeing any, looking for a motion.
I motion for the reading to go proceed.
Staff recommendations, I'll second that motion. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran, Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 4-1.
Read by
Okay.
title only.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance number 1927, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Porterville amending Series 200, Chapter 202, Downtown Districts of the Porterville Development Ordinance. Thank you.
You've already figured out my habit, because I was already going to go to 28. Go ahead, ma'am.
Next in order is item number 28, the second reading of ordinance number 1928, which adds articles and chapters concerning the by right approvals as required by state law. So the recommendation is to adopt and give second reading and waive anything other than title only.
Okay, bringing it back to council. Does council have any questions? Not seeing any. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a first.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran, Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0.
Read by title only.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance number 1928, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Porterville adding Article 614, Chapter 21, Development Ordinance, Series 600 concerning by right approvals as required by state law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is number 29. Second reading of ordinance number 1929, which concerns prima facie speed limits on certain streets in the Muni Code. The recommendation is to approve and authorize and give second reading by title only, waiving further reading. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bringing it back to council. Does council have any questions? Nope?
No.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0.
Read by title only.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance number 1929, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Porterville amending Chapter 17, Article 15, Section 17-15, prima facie speed limits determined on certain streets of the Porterville Municipal Code. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to schedule matter number 30, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This item is regarding consideration of the revised City Council Order of Business. It's essentially third time, potentially a charm. Dating back in November of last year, the City Council adopted resolution number 105-2025, updating the City Council Order of Business for regular meetings. Essentially, we added council comments at the beginning of the meeting. Following the implementation, the Vice Mayor requested that the City Council consider an additional revision to include a second council comment section following oral communications. That eventually, that motion, it died, and the City Council did not adopt the proposed resolution. Now, Councilman Rivas has requested that the item be reintroduced for further consideration. The attached draft resolution is identical to the versions presented on January 20th of 2026. It is staff's recommendation that the City Council rescind resolution number 105-2025 and approve the attached draft resolution revising the City Council Order of Business. That's the conclusion of staff's report, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, City Manager. And, you know, we've debated this back and forth. Like the City Manager said, this is our third time. I'm going to make a motion without any discussion. And that is that we just add the oral communication or comments for council after oral communication from the public.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
I just want to, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
I just want to clarify, is this going to be after the 6:30 oral for,
Yes.
In the general session, that's
Yes,
correct.
that was my question.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran.
No.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Yes. Passes 4-1. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 31. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is in consideration of the proposed budget calendar for the fiscal year 2026, 2027. As typical, and based on our city charter, section 51, no later than 30 days before the end of the fiscal year, an estimate of the expenditures and revenues of the city's departments for the ensuing year will be presented. In order to comply with this charter requirement and to ensure an orderly budget development process, staff has prepared the attached proposed budget calendar for fiscal year 2026, 2027. You'll notice that there's a priority project study session that right now it's to be determined, but essentially staff will work with council to identify, in the past it's been a month where they have 5 Tuesdays. And so rather than setting a date, we'll work with council to identify a date that works best for their schedule. And it's staff's recommendation that the city council approve the proposed budget calendar for the upcoming fiscal year 26-27 and schedule a priority project study session either as a special meeting or as part of a regularly scheduled city council meeting.
Thank you, City Manager. I'll bring it back to the council. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
No comment.
Vice Mayor McCurvey?
No comments.
Councilman Green?
No comment, sir.
No comments? I'm looking for a motion. I have none too. He highlighted the priority projects, so we'll have that meeting.
I would just say that the calendar looks good. Great explanation. Let's go with staff recommendations. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We will call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 32.
Moving right along, Mayor, members of the council, this is to approve the amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement establishing the Tule East Groundwater Sustainable Agency, commonly referred to as TEGSA, and I've asked Director Alvarez to provide the staff report.
Thank you, City Manager Treat. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. The Sustainable Groundwater Management Act requires local agencies with critical overdraft groundwater basins to be governed by a compliant groundwater sustainable agency. The City of Porterville lies within Tule Subbasin, which is currently on probation status due to deficiencies in the prior groundwater sustainability plan. The city is presently a member of the Eastern Tule Groundwater Sustainable Agency. However, it is in the process of dissolving following the withdrawal of several member agencies. This dissolution necessitates that the city identify an alternative governance structure to remain compliant with SGMA requirements. In response, the Ducor Water District, Hope Water District, and Tulare County initiated formation of the Tule East Groundwater Sustainable Agency to preserve local control and advance development of a revised compliant GSP. An amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement and draft bylaws have been prepared to establish the agency's governance framework. The proposed JPA agreement and draft bylaws have been reviewed by the city attorney and revised to include governance and fiscal safeguards, including clarified management area definitions, voting thresholds for financial decisions, and transparency measures. Staff finds that approving the JPA agreement at this time allows the city to maintain SGMA compliance, preserve local representation within the Tule Subbasin, and participate meaningfully in the development of long-term groundwater sustainability solutions while retaining city council oversight of future policy and fiscal decisions. Staff's recommendation that city council approve the amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement establishing the Tule East Groundwater Sustainable Agency and acknowledge the draft TEGSA bylaws as a proposed governing document to be adopted by the GSA following its formation, and appoint one member of City Council to serve as the city's member representative on the Tule East Groundwater Sustainable Agency Board, and appoint the Public Works Director to serve as the city's alternative member representative of the Tule East Groundwater Sustainability Agency Board. That concludes the staff report. Staff will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the council, I'm going to go ahead and let Councilman Green lead on this. He's our water guy as far as committee representative and longtime farmer, so go ahead, sir.
Well, about all I can say is I think we should follow staff recommendation and proceed in that manner. I don't know if anybody else has any questions about it. I think I know what we're talking about here, so
Yeah.
I'm good to go with it.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Rivas?
I'll second that if there's no other questions or comments.
Okay, all right. It sounds like we got a motion and a second. I'm going to take those. Councilman Beltran, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I got a few. First, I'll start with, we kind of came to this issue because we were looking at, because obviously the Eastern Tule got dissolved or is dissolving, so we need to partner with other agencies or do this on our own. The reason we're looking for partners is because this can be very expensive. Initially, we had the Porterville Irrigation District that we're looking to partner with, which out of all these members, even in this newest one, PID is the only one that's actually sustainable. They're not in probation. But we decided not to join them because at the time the mayor wanted us to have the deciding vote because it was a 2-2 vote, which means nothing would ever pass if we disagreed, which, you know, they're sustainable, we're sustainable. I thought that was the best partnership that we could have had. This one, we're basically getting out of one rec car to get into another rec car. Hope just was established, and they don't even have their fees yet. There was a long problem with having funding. I think the Eastern Tule, when they dissolved, I believe they were in the rears of like $500,000 owed to the county, but they didn't, since they stopped pumping, Mr. Green, I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, when they stopped pumping, they had no fees to then pay that money.
No extraction.
There's no extraction, so they had no money. So it just, we're getting out of one rec car to get into another one with this one. PID was the right decision to my estimation, but there was some personality conflicts that got us into this. So I get why we're doing this as kind of emergency because it takes about a year. You have to have attorneys, you have to have specialists, you need a director to put all this together, and our time has ran out given that we left PID. So we're going to join an organization that it's 4-1 vote, and we're the only ones that's sustainable in this agency. So I'm not necessarily speaking to my colleagues here, speaking to the residents to understand the dynamics that we find ourselves in. So I'm sure, I hope, Mr. Alvarez, this is nothing on you. You're taking this on from past administration and decisions by this council. My curiosity is, how come the county isn't doing this on their own? Has there been any discussion why the county, because they're the largest factor, they have like 40,000 acres. And I don't know what our percentage breakdown in this agreement is, because my concern is, what is our percentage as a city that we're sustainable, that we're going to be affected by any probation stuff, any fees? That's not in this agreement. So I was kind of concerned with, we haven't set a percentage on fees, have we?
So no, it should be proportional. So the TEGSA is about 100,000 acres, and we're looking at about City of Porterville anywhere from 14 to 15, depending on whether you use city limits or UDB. So it's
Councilmember Beltran and Director Alvarez, I just wanted to let you know, too, that we do have Lauren Lane, who is the GSA attorney. She had graciously offered to hop on when this item came up. So she is now available if there's questions specific to the GSA that we're not sure of. She might be able to fill in some of those blanks. So anyways, just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
So it is proportional, is that, or it's supposed to be like in good faith proportional, but it's not in writing?
I say lean on that attorney.
Yeah, it hasn't been established yet, but I think Lauren might have, I know that I had a discussion with Lauren about this, and she can kind of fill you in on how they're going to be setting fees for this, so.
Yeah, if you could please chime in on that, please.
Yes, sure. Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity. Lauren Lane, counselor for Tule East GSA. So on the fee discussion, this group is going to do things a little different than Eastern Tule has in several respects, but one of them is the fees. And so right now, they have an initial call for funds of $100,000 from their current 3-member agencies based on proportionality. So the county's paying 75% of that, Ducor's 10%, and Hope's 15%. I think I might have Hope and Ducor switched. But that's just the initial call for funds. What we are planning to do is go out for a Prop 218 land-based assessment and pumping fees. So there will not be large member agency contributions like Eastern Thule GSA has done. Hence the comment that they're in arrears right now because they did a cash call from their member agencies late last year as a result of not going out and doing pumping fees because of the settlement with Friant in that litigation. So we won't be, I would say, leaning on the city's budget similar to what Eastern Thule did. It would be on the landowners, and the land-based assessment would be everybody in the GSA. And that would be just for the administrative cost. And of course, this is what we're envisioning. Nothing's been decided yet, and we don't have an engineer's report yet. But it would be for the administrative cost. So kind of a base fee for running the GSA. And then what we would do is a pumping fee for projects and management actions that are needed in order to reach sustainability to address that differential in overdraft. So that's very similar to what other GSAs throughout the state have been doing. I represent several other GSAs. And so that is our plan moving forward from a cost sharing analysis. I can't guarantee there won't be another small call for funds just to make sure we get that engineering study done in the meantime, but after that, there shouldn't be anything. And those member agencies are all going to be reimbursed, even with this initial call for funds. That was the request of the member agencies. And the hope is to reimburse everybody by the end of this calendar year.
Thank you for that explanation.
I also wanted to add real quick, just that we did add some language into the amended draft, we meaning me, I added. So just to try to help set some of those ground rules. We didn't, as it turned out, not all of the language that I initially came up with was put in, and with the understanding, the reason being, and again, Lauren can also go into this if she'd like, but my understanding is some of it is a little bit premature. A lot of the discussions concerning exactly how it's all going to work, it's hard to have those discussions now. We don't even know. Like, the way I had it set up was based on assumptions, for instance, on a different methodology than doing a Prop 218 and actually having every landowner be charged. So, because that's generally how a lot of them are set up. So, but what I did do is I added 2 definitions in the amended JPA, and that's under 1.11 and 1.12. That's the management area and the municipal management area. So under management area, it says that it's an area with a category of user with a unique set of management actions that reflect specific hydrologic conditions, historical conservation achievements, and existing recharge programs. Undesirable results, e.g. subsidence or water level declines, occurring outside the management area shall not trigger regulatory assessments or pumping restrictions within the management area unless specifically caused by extractions in the management area. So that was added, and then I also added municipal management area because I wanted to make it clear that the city would be able to be its own management area. So that would cover, the jurisdictional boundaries, including any locations of the city's groundwater wells and recharge basins and facilities, because sometimes those are actually located outside the city limits.
Yeah,
So I added that, and then I added language. Another thing I did was I added, now the bylaws are not anywhere near being approved yet, right? Because the bylaws get approved by the GSA once the GSA is formed, right? So, however, I did talk to both Lauren on behalf of the GSA and to the county council that's in charge, and got concurrence on the change in the bylaws that would provide for a unanimous vote concerning financial matters related to all things fees, or either directly or indirectly related to fees. So it kind of ironically puts us back in that situation where it takes everybody's vote to get, to decide those big questions on fees and the finances related to the fees. So we did kind of separate that out. Thank you.
I appreciate that explanation because I got the revision late yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to go through each part. But I have kind of PTSD from when we were with the Transit Authority, is that we're joining this group that's kind of figuring it out. And so thank you for all your expertise in helping with the language. I was concerned with that, knowing that we are sustainable, that we're affected by others, and that there is that difference of we didn't cause it. So
So it's not specifically addressed by any stretch is the city's conservation efforts and the city's recharge, which we would want to at some point address, and how we're going to handle that, because we want to ensure that those are utilized to meet the city's safe and sustainable yield, so that we're not in overdraft before we are able to basically share the wealth of that with everybody else potentially. But those will be discussions for a later time, and hopefully we'll be able to get there with the mechanism that's set up here. But you're right, there's a leap of faith involved.
Well, that's my concern, is it's kind of we're joining before we know what's in there, and I'm always hesitant to do that. So thank you for keeping on top of all that and just explaining that. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Beltran. Councilman Rivas?
I made a motion.
That's correct. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I think we went in depth enough. So we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran. No. Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 4-1. Okay, moving on to our next schedule matter number 3, City Manager.
Yes, this is in regards to the authorization to purchase podcast production equipment, and staff is happy to answer any questions or provide the staff report if that's a desire of the council.
Okay, Councilman Beltran, you pulled this item. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, we had a great meeting on Monday going over, I love this new media that we're doing. My concern was, somebody had brought it up earlier, was a little bit of the cost. And so I didn't want to just push this through without talking about some of my perspective on it. I love it. I think this is a good resource that people are going to. People don't always subscribe to the city email to get that or follow social media. This is the kind of the new media that's, I think it's great. It's a long time coming. My only concern, and I gave some feedback to the city manager, was instead of getting the 3 cameras, I mean, that's like a whole studio setup, getting all the direct, first-person perspective and a panel, what have you. Just to lower the cost a little bit and see how this morphs over time was to, I love at least one camera, but my recommendation was a GoPro that could be used a little more on the go type stuff. But just a little bit to lower that cost was my recommendation, was not the 3 initial cameras. And there's a lot of cameras we could probably get for less that could do just as well. But I think a GoPro, more the top of the line, that's a 4K, would do just as well as one of these Sony cameras. So that was just my input. I know the city manager said that that's something that staff could work on and figure out what the dynamic would be, but that would just be my recommendation, that we just don't go buy the whole 3 cameras right off until we know what this looks like. That the budget is there to potentially buy them in the future, but I think starting off a little smaller and then see if that needs to grow. I mean, whatever that staff is doing that, I support what they need, but just the initial start, I think maybe starting off with just those 2 type of cameras would be my recommendation.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm supportive. I'd make the motion to go with staff recommendation.
I'm confused. You want less cameras, or you want to go with staff recommendation?
I know this is what they're recommending. My input is to review that and go back. So if they want to do it, go ahead, do it. But my recommendation is to start off with the GoPro, but I'll leave it into their hands. I trust them. If they want to do it, go ahead and do it.
Okay.
That's just my input for it.
You made your point. Councilman Green, do you have any comments?
No, sir.
Councilman Rivas?
No, just go with staff recommendations on what I'm seeing here. And
Vice Mayor McCurvey?
I would just, I think I heard you say you wanted to be mobile, some of this to be mobile. Is that what, can I just simplify what you said?
Yeah, because these cameras are more to be put on like a tripod and just sit.
I would just say, let's make sure that we have some flexibility so we can support the businesses. I know the mayor was talking about going to the vault.
I'll go into that right now.
And so I would just make a recommendation that we go in a mobility direction so that we have the ability to do both.
Yeah, and so just to add to that comment, and Councilman Beltran made a good point, and he's actually been taking the initiative on his own to go and try to reach out to the community, but he's not having the greatest traction, right? Because today, the town square is social media. And so that's what Councilman Beltran is trying to say is, I want to get out there, and this gives that opportunity to tell what the city's doing and what we're doing with your tax dollars. and try to get it in not a 6-hour meeting, but maybe a 15-minute podcast. And so I totally understand what you're saying. I also would agree with the thought of maybe some kind of mobility. I went and did the shop local at the vault, and we were using a Canon camera with one mic. And so I have a feeling that it's not going to be very good. And so if we want to go and promote our local businesses, go to Port Richards, go to the Cellar, go and promote our businesses throughout our city, we'll need technology like what Councilman Beltran's saying. So I like the motion of giving staff the discretion to be able to make a good decision. Okay? I second Councilman Beltran's motion. We will call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas.
Aye.
Councilmember Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 10. Councilman Beltran, you pulled this item. Go ahead and lead on it, sir.
Yeah, I'm not sure what staff member I'm talking to on this one.
That one.
We have acting directors Cervantes here, as well as myself and the rest of the directors.
Great to see you, sir. Just some preliminary, I know I discussed this with the city manager, and I thought I saw kind of some redundancy, and I just wanted to get clarification on that. I saw like an email, so just correct me on, so one I talked about was on Mulberry, where there's going to be 2 similar ones. But we talked about possibly the second one that's not in front of Oak Grove, potentially going somewhere else.
That's correct.
Okay, and so I didn't want to rubber stamp this without that discussion, just kind of like the other previous podcast one. I know we're approving this, but there can be discretion about some adjustments being made. And the second one was to the crossings on Orange. They're 1 block apart from each other, and some clarification. I know there's existing crosswalks there, but again, I didn't know if that was a redundancy to have 2 lighted beacon crosswalks 1 block away from each other.
And that had to do with, of course, with the Olive Street School being there, and then, of course, the preschool being there as well. And I know with as many crosswalks as there is now, because I think there's like 4 out there right now as we speak, and so none of them have any of the ADA compliance or any of the ramps that are, fully functional at all. And so we kept those 2 just because of the volume of the traffic on Orange, just because in the morning and even in the afternoon, just to kind of keep it safe, because I know people do use that after school to go and play basketball and kind of use the school's yard to do things out there. And so so we decided to keep those in there just because of the volume of the traffic.
Yeah, I went to school there. I grew up in that neighborhood. And so I guess I was just kind of, another highlight that I saw was that the crossing on G Street, it actually goes, when it goes across, it actually is on the opposite side of the school. So the kids will still have to cross G Street to get to the school.
Yeah.
So
And
it's kind of like counterintuitive.
it is a little bit, and I knew it was because of the poles and everything that was in the way, and so we couldn't put it exactly right where we wanted to.
Oh, you'd have to move the pole and do all this.
So we had to move
Okay.
it to the other side and I knew, G Street's not as active as Orange is, and so, so hopefully, it'll work out, but we know that it's not as
Okay.
beautiful as it would have been if we would have put it on the other side. So,
And if I may just add a comment, in regards to Orange, understanding what the council is saying, is there a possibility, Director Cervantes, that we move forward with 1 crosswalk but still make the ADA improvements in the other?
and that is something that we can do, and I know that, because I know these rapid flashing beacons with the lights are very expensive, and so if we can put this somewhere else, we can surely look at that as well.
And I love this discussion, just so that the community sees that just because we're implementing certain things, that we're always trying to, not necessarily the cheapest avenue, but the most productive, like you said, ADA compliance and all this kind of stuff. We're trying to be a good steward when we do in these jobs. So I didn't mean to pull it to pick on it, just to show all the dynamics behind the scene of what goes into doing these. So thank you.
Okay. Councilman Rivas?
No, he answered all my questions. Thank you, sir. But And overall, it's just, there is some flexibility, and and everything is able to maneuver based on the volume of traffic, and that's where you came up with the best source of action, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's all. He answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Green,
No comment.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
So I just wanted to say, I like the idea of the city manager combining these two with the proviso that we do the ADA and get two things done, and then we can save some money along the way, too.
Okay, and I guess I'll make a comment too. Thank you for taking a look at Castle and Prospect crosswalk, so thank you, sir. Okay, with that, I'm looking for a motion.
I motion for staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a first
I'll second.
and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 20. Mr. Beltran, you pulled the item. Go ahead and lead on it, sir.
Mayor, we actually had item 13 pulled
Oh,
for
yes,
Councilman
let's-
Rivas.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
This is in regards to the assignment of airport lease lot 30A1, 30A2, and 30A3.
Yeah,
Okay, and Councilman Rivas, I know you serve on this committee. Go ahead and lead, sir.
Yeah, all I want to do is real quick, I just want to pull this item and for a future, and I want to table this so we can, at a later date. But that's my motion, is to table it and come back to it at a later date. So that would be my motion.
Okay.
I don't want to get into the semantics of it, but I just, there still needs to be some negotiations on it, and that's where I want to leave it at that.
Okay, okay. I trust Councilman Rivas' position here, so you're wanting to table it to a future meeting?
Correct.
Okay,
And bring it back to the council.
okay, I'll second that motion. Is there any other discussion on it? He serves on the committee, so.
Yeah, I understand that part, and I see how some of these committees go. It went with staff recommendation. Did you discuss with any of the staff about why you pulled it? You don't need to explain to me now. I just didn't know if this was on your own, or did you talk with staff about something that came up?
Something that came up.
With staff, or just on your own?
No, not on my own.
Okay, no, I just wanted to double check,
No,
okay.
not on my own. I don't ever do things on my own. I do my research, and I was told that it needed to continue with some negotiations.
I don't know staff who works with there. Was there any discussion from the Quadeker family or?
Mr. Quadeker's in the audience tonight if you want to ask him questions, but yeah, we were informed by Councilman Rivas that there was some negotiations continuing and that it was asked to table the item.
Correct.
Would he care to come up and ask if he is okay with tabling this for now, or is it something that he would like to?
Well, if he reached out to Mr. Rivas, you don't need to put his.
Well, he showed up as well, so.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
There you go.
That's what.
Okay,
Was that so hard?
There's a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green, Councilmember Beltran,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye, passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to schedule matter number 20. I know you want a restroom break, but we're going to finish this. Okay. City manager.
Yes, item 20 is in regard to authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing for the downtown zoning text amendments. Can provide the staff report and answer any questions if you'd like.
Go ahead, Councilman Beltran.
Yeah, I don't need the staff report. I know this is going to come back to us if it passes regardless. But I just kind of want to note that kind of a big part to me on this is we're taking a sledgehammer to a lot of stuff, and it's really interesting. We had a last hearing or last meeting with a development that we just adjusted we could have done it with a conditional use or rezone that section. This is kind of rezoning the whole downtown mixed use. when we get to that, but to me, that's a little interesting because there's a lot of residential places that are mixed in that when this discussion comes, you'll start having, you could have a 24-hour business next to residential properties. And so again, instead of being really selective about what our zones are, it's just like, no, get rid of this. But the second part that's concerning for me is, let's see, where is it at? It's section 2, the second part of this was the designation will then go to the city manager. Right now, it's the director of community development, and so who specializes in this type of work. And then you're going to go put it on the city manager who doesn't specialize in this and has his plate full. And I think it's just, are we looking for somebody who just says yes or somebody who's looking out for what's best interest of community? Because then you start getting into picking and choosing winners and losers versus you falling back on, well, this is the zone, or we do a conditional use permit as a council versus we're going to take this job or this ability away from a director. I don't think we'd do it to police or fire or finance and say, hey, your city manager, you do this job better than this person that spends 24 hours in this. I think you're kind of saying you don't trust the director or you don't trust staff. I think that's a bad message. We've already seen turnover because of personalities and trust issues. And as much as people want to clap and applaud that, I think this is just slowly pulling that string of saying we don't necessarily trust staff and we want the council, because ultimately then it comes back to council to make those decisions. I thought we did perfectly fine with the last one that came before us with the grocery store, that we can just, hey, bring it to us, we'll approve it or not. Going back to the PRC meetings, it's a perfect example of all the different staff that has to, or departments that project touches, all has their input. And we can listen to these, the city manager can, have this input. I listen to those. Whenever there's a problem, bring it to us and we can vote. And so I just think this is a bad look, just so the constituents know, we're taking a responsibility from a director and we're giving it to the city manager. It's not a good look. We've already seen that happen in many facets. And this council changes all the time. And so I think when you start doing that, you start really creating, some change is great, but just for the sake of change because you want to change the system's there for a reason at sometimes it's to protect ourselves. And so I know this will get addressed later on, but that's why I pulled this item, just so the residents understand the decisions behind these of what's happening. So thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Beltran, and he makes great points. We will have a public hearing if this passes tonight, and the community will have an opportunity to speak upon this. And I would just put the question out there, what do we have to lose? Tell me what businesses are coming to Porterville. What you heard right now is the status quo, the stagnant that's been Porterville for the past 20 years. That's the position we're taking here, is reducing regulation to incentivize growth. So that's all I have to say on it. Councilman Rivas, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I don't think the sky's going to fall, but for the most part, what this is going to do is we're not taking nothing away from the director. We're just handing it over to the city manager, who he pretty much runs, or she runs the city. So with that, it still has to come to the council for approval. And you can paint the picture of a grocery store is going to be next to a house and so on and so forth. We don't know that, and I don't see that coming. All this is going to do is it's going to improve consistency across downtown districts by standardizing permits, conditional, and limited zone reviews. And it's going to speed up the decisions of making and creating businesses to come to Porterville. In the last 20 years, what have we gotten? Nothing. We haven't gotten a Walmart distribute. We didn't get a Walmart grocery store. We didn't get the Costco that we were supposed to get. We didn't get the in and out that we were supposed to get. It's because of these regulations. And you guys complain about, we don't have the money, we don't have the funds. Well, we're trying to bring businesses in here to open it up for everybody. So you can have a vision, so you can create your business, to make it more streamlined. I mean, you can paint the picture that the sky is gonna fall and we're all gonna be perishing tomorrow, but nobody knows that. But what do you got to lose by gaining what we're trying to do for you? And so with this, you know, it's gonna protect everybody. We're not gonna allow anybody to come in here that doesn't need to be here to demoralize Porterville. We're going to bring businesses in. Downtown is gonna stay maintained, it's gonna be our focal point. And yeah, council members change, but this gives everybody the opportunity to open up. We have had empty buildings here for the last year that are not being utilized because of this red tape. We don't got anything, but you want everything. So you tell me what you guys want, and we'll provide it for you. You don't want to spend money? Then stay with the status quo. I'm here to change things, and I would like to change this, and that's where I stand with this.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. And, you know, just to add to that, too, we could very easily put a mechanism in this, and this would come out in the public hearing where we could really state our ideas. But if a business owner gets shut down by the almighty city manager we're talking about, even though I'm setting charter amendments to declaw the city manager, but say we do have a petty tyrant for a city manager, we could set something to say, hey, you can appeal the city manager and bring it to the council.
Correct.
It's very fixable as far as the petty tyrants. So, Councilman Green, do you have any more comments?
Yeah, I don't know what else I could add to all this.
Okay, Vice Mayor McCurvey.
No comments.
Well, you know, we all work together, so the idea that we're taking away from some and giving to another, everybody's on the same team. Speed and flexibility. I'll put it 2 words instead of 2,000. We could have left it 20 minutes ago.
Was that it?
That's it.
Holy cow. Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendations.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran?
No.
Vice Mayor McCurvey?
Aye.
Mayor Meister?
Aye, passes 4-1. Okay, moving, I'm in shock here,
We're getting there.
folks. Okay, so let me find myself.
Get your bearings, Mayor.
AB.
AB 1234 reports. This is the time for all AB 1234 reports required pursuant to government code. Tulare County, now, we did talk about, we missed a couple, so I'll add them on at the end. We had the City Tribe MOU and then the Heritage Committee. So we'll add those on at the end in that order. We're going to start with Tulare County Task Force on Homelessness.
Yes, I did not attend this meeting, but I have some of the notes that Ms. Claudia Cameron provided for me, so I'm just going to read them out to you. The meetings began on the 21st of January at the Tulare County Task Force on Homelessness met. Meetings on the November 19th, 2025 meeting were approved. The election of officers were approved. The members voting to retain the existing officers took place. Updated, given that the 7 voting members whose terms expired were reappointed by the Tulare County Board of Supervisors on January the 13th of 2026. The task force also discussed voting members' vacancies and recommendations, the appointments of a new partner representative and unincorporated community representative to the board. Members then discussed the potential addition of voting member positions, noting that by law, amendments and the board approval would be required. And in closing, the meeting included a presentation on the KCOA Food Bank Services Center. It discussed voting members' priorities for 2026, informational updates on the HUD, NOFO, and HHAP Round 6 funding, and information on the 2026 Housing California Conference, And also, voting members provided community updates, and the next meeting is scheduled for February the 18th, 2026. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. Okay, moving on to the Downtown Porterville Committee meeting. You know, I watched this one online, and I just want to pay the respect to our Vice Mayor McCurvey and running these meetings. I mean, they are fun to watch, and it is moving, and a lot of great ideas going on. So, Vice Mayor McCurvey, take
Thank you,
lead,
Mayor.
sir.
Yeah, it was a great meeting. We continue to make a lot of great progress. So here's my report. The meeting was on January 22nd, 9:30 a.m. The members of an upcoming downtown car show team came in and they spoke about the show. You can go and check that out if you want to see it. They spoke at our oral communications. It was a great presentation, some great ideas coming forward. Then we approved the minutes. The first scheduled matter was reviewing the brainstorming. We did a lot of brainstorming over the course of the last fall, just trying to lay the foundation for, setting the framework for what we'd like to achieve. And we're most of the way through that brainstorming. We wanted to stop and review as we started the year. The parking lot downtown on Main Street, we talked about that, and now that's passed tonight, and we're moving that forward, which is terrific. That's been something that's been years in the offing. So there's a great conversation that happened about ADA and van parking, so we're looking at some designs and some improvements to what we've already done to help us with vans and ways that we could get them downtown, because it's not really easy for a van to do parking right on the front, but there are some ideas on how we might be able to do it on a side street close to Main Street, right off on some of those side streets. So there's a good idea coming there. We'll look at that. We are also continue to talk about security issues. At night, there was some people that are wandering around, walking in, and in the daytime berating people, and there's some strange things going on here and there, and that stuff's being addressed, but we want to make sure that we continue to focus on the safety and the security downtown, and it's much improved, but we still have some opportunities, and one of those is how we get to parking. So there's a lot of discussion about bringing some sort of a parking regulation back. We're not sure how that's going to be, so we're continuing to talk about it, but maybe like a 3-hour parking, but we'll see how that goes. But it's triggered by this idea that we have a lot of downtown. We've gotten into the habit that we have a lot of downtown businesses, and they just park in front of their own business, or they park next door, next to someone else's business, and then that other business parks next door. And so a lot of the parking downtown are business owners, and now we can't have people coming downtown to park. So that was a great discussion, because we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. And we got to reevaluate that and see if we can make some incentives to park behind some of our buildings. But we got to make it clean, and we got to be thinking about walking. Like if you go to one of our big shopping centers, you'll walk a ways to get to the store. You got to be thinking about downtown like that, because we have a lot of parking behind Main Street, and if you park behind Main Street and then you walk down there, that would be great. It doesn't work for the ADA, but we have to rethink our parking so that we can make sure when someone does come down to spend money that they have a place to park and make it easier for them. We talked about the city-sponsored events to get an idea how much the city spends to do these calendar events, and so we came at this in like a real basic understanding. When you have to do the traffic control, and you have to do safety, and you have to set aside all those things and have a plan with our service. Like after a parade, you got to pick up the trash. So when you do a one-block event, it costs the city about $2,000. When you do a medium-scale event like we did last year for the Spring Festival for the Chamber, it was half of Main Street. It was about $2,000. If we do the parade, it's around $10,000. So when you do any parade and you close off the whole, so you have an idea how much that costs, so we can use that just to measure, how we're doing things and making sure that we're using that money wisely, and we understand it in the terms of the impact on the city. So that was a great discussion. We also talked about, we had some success with the outside vendors that descended on our Christmas parade. We thought we had a plan to tackle that, and I think we did okay, but it was a bigger problem than we were prepared for. So with some marginal success, we're going to continue to refine that so that we can make sure that if we have some sidewalk vending, that we can make sure that it's authorized and safe, because we had some folks that are coming in from out of town serving food and things like that, and it takes away from the parade, for example. So we'll work on that, and we'll continue to do better with that. We had a section where we had the lessons learned from the Redo It Committee, which is a committee that the chamber put together. They do a lot of stuff all around the city, and they do have this Redo It Committee, and so we're trying to stay connected with their committee so that we're aligned on the things that we're doing downtown. So we had a good report on the Redo It Committee and some collaboration. The final agenda was the downtown parking regulations. It's still an open issue, so if you want to come down and speak to the committee, we're still talking about that. We definitely want to focus on safety. And then we ended with, on a high note, because we had, one of our members had Christmas carolers come downtown, and there was a lot of Christmas cheer. And we finished the year really strong last year, and we had the Cheermeister thing that went on, and we have the historical flag walks that are coming. So there's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of optimism, and there's a lot of community spirit down there as we finish the year and enter the new year. So we're having a great time in that committee, a lot of engagement, and a lot of great ideas. So looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I love hearing those guys come in and talk about the car show and trying to bring that back downtown. I think that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do there. Okay, going on to TCAG. I serve on that committee, and so I'm going to try to make it very brief. The state is short funds, and so they're having to move projects out because of deficits at the state level, and really it's all government. But Stage 2 has begun on the Westwood and 190 roundabout. We also discussed a DC trip for myself and possibly the city manager going and lobbying for the airport extension. That date still hasn't been set exactly. We'll let you know when that comes. Some other great things that came from the meeting. Porterville Litter Abatement Program renewed for 2 years. That's $80,000 from Measure R, $30,000 from Caltrans, and $50,000 from the city of Porterville. And this is a crew that picks up trash within the city, on the highways, and then the county. And so it's a great thing, and we want to continue to push that. Now, I had concerns. It's the RUP transit planning contract, and so this really ties, just to paint a big picture, it ties to the bullet train. So that has been defunded, and so they're scaling back on the bullet train, and this is a cross-county transit program. It's supposed to go from Hanford to the city of Lindsay. It was going to end in Exeter, but the Council of Exeter made the decision not to bring the transit. And the reason they made that decision is because a lot of transients or homeless use transit, and so they'll use that as a path to go. And Exeter didn't want to increase in their homeless, so they didn't want this ending point in their city. So now it's moved to the city of Lindsay. With that, we're talking a $16 million project with electric buses. And if there's anything I've learned from the city of Porterville, electric buses don't work. The technology is not there. We bought 11 of them before I got elected, and I believe 8 out of 11 were down within the first year. And these are not cheap. They're $800,000 buses. It's painful. And so this whole Green New Deal is a failed idea. And so I have concerns going in that direction. I voice my concerns. And a lot of people don't understand. TCAG, I would say, is probably the most elite committee in the county. You have all the county supervisors and mayors from all the cities in the county, and we decide on how Measure R funds are spent. And the chair was not happy that I pulled this agenda item to discuss this question, and he overspoke me and tried to belittle me in some ways, So I just want to state the fact that I still disagree. What we did was we spent another $253,000 to extend the consultant on this project, which is now costing $850,000 for what I would think is going to happen is empty buses in the future, because a lot of people don't use that. It doesn't make sense to go wait on a bus, to take a bus to go to work, to then get off work, to go wait on a bus to get it back home. A lot of people don't take that avenue, and so I have concerns. And so I just want to state that and let you know the positions I've took. With that, we'll move on to the city tribe MOU. I attended that with city manager, city attorney. And we discussed, and let me just state for the record, this was the best meeting I've had with the tribe, and I really appreciate it. It was all the tribal council, newly electeds. It really was the best meeting I've had, and there was great progress. You know, the major concern I've had is we are the highest tax city in Tulare County, one of the highest tax cities in the state of California. And the reason why we have Measure H and Measure I is to pay for first responders. And so when you have the tribe's casino down in our jurisdiction and they're not paying for fire, it feels like we're subsidizing that. And so I've made that clear. We discussed numbers and what we would like to be compensated for. And the chair, Neil Pyrone, was very professional, and he stated what he needed to justify that. And we are working on getting those numbers. We'll bring them in the next meeting, and it's good due diligence on his part to ask for that. I always, my big concern with police and fire, it's not the high-frequency calls, you know, the first aid stuff. It's the low-frequency, high-risk calls. And so I really want to highlight that it's important to have this deal, because when something major happens, we want to be covered in responding. If there's a shooting, a fire, a gas leak, when our fire department, our police department responds, we should be covered for that. We also discussed the swinging footbridge and committees that the tribe will be bringing to continue that project going forward. And we also talked about selling the OHV park. The tribe is very interested. The past council started negotiations with the tribe, and I think that it's only right that we live by our word. And so that is on the table for negotiations. Am I missing anything, city manager or city attorney, that you'd like to add?
You covered it well, Mayor.
Thank you. And like I said, it really was a great meeting. Okay, with that, we will go on to the Heritage Committee. Vice Mayor, you've been leading strong on this. I'll let you continue.
Well, the most exciting thing about that is the connection to downtown with the college kids there. We talked a lot about the next stage of the murals, and we're starting to buy some paint for them, and so they can start working on a couple of murals, and they're very excited about it too. So I'm really happy to see that. We did get some of our memorabilia out there. I know we've seen it on our city vehicles out there where you see the farmer, and we got some pins out there now. We got a few things to celebrate for this year, so we're making some great progress on the Heritage Committee. When we get to March, we're hoping to have some banners up to highlight the 250th, 100th, and we're hoping also to have the docent walks starting in March with, in conjunction with the museum, and looking at our downtown area and the points of interest for local history, and also we're going to talk about American history with the flags that we have up. So very exciting time in the Heritage, always a fun meeting. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, with that, we will move on to oral communication. This is the opportunity for the people to address the council. You can come forward at this time if you have comments.
Diane Wagner. I want to speak tonight about the city purchase of podcast and media equipment during an election year. Let me start by saying this clearly. Podcast equipment can be a positive tool. Used appropriately, it can help disseminate information, explain city programs, improve transparency, and reach residents who may not attend meetings or watch traditional broadcasts. That potential is not the concern. The concern is safeguards. In an election year especially, public resources must be protected from even the appearance of being used for political self-promotion. California law is clear that public funds should not be used to support campaigns, but good governance also requires clear local policies and guardrails, not just legal minimums. So my question tonight is simple and reasonable. What assurances will this council provide that this equipment will not be used by individual council members to promote themselves, their platforms, or their political narratives during an election year? We have seen self-promotion, exaggerations, and mistruths from this council in the past. How will we verify that the information provided on a podcast is true and honest accounting of the facts? Will there be opportunities to set the record straight? Will there be written policies governing who can appear on city-produced podcasts, how content is approved, and how topics are selected? Will usage be limited to staff-led informational programming rather than council member-driven commentary? Will equal access rules apply, or will participation be restricted altogether during the election period? And most importantly, will the public be able to see those policies before the equipment is used? Trust is built not only by good intentions, but by clear rules that prevent misuse and protect public confidence. Without those safeguards, even well-intended tools risk undermining trust, especially in a time when many residents already feel disconnected from their local government. I'm not asking you to abandon the idea, I'm asking you to protect it. Please commit tonight to transparency, written policies, and firm boundaries that assure this equipment serves the public interest, not political interests.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Hey, I was going to say, let's get with it, or I'm going to close it.
I know, I'm sandbagging.
Is that on?
There it goes. Anyway, Councilman Beltran, you know, I understand your concerns about on the item regarding the change of the text amendment, but I was here, and I think you were here too, when we redid the general plan 20 years ago. And basically, it was flawed from its inception, and it's become worse as we've gone along. And in the 20 years, despite all the harping, we've changed exactly 2 texts, and this one for the laundromat being the second one, in 18 years. So at the rate we're going, it's about, I did the math, about 500 years before we get any appreciable change in downtown zoning. So I do believe we need to speed it up. You know, I think, you know, the inventor of Apple said, you know, move fast, break things, or am I quoting that right? And so, again, the status quo, it's not working. When I was on council, I had situations where a guy would come to town and he would try to start a business and he would find a location, but because of some of the zoning, it wasn't allowed. And then what happened is that building was vacant then, and that building is vacant today. And I feel like, you know, we're losing a lot of potential businesses. If it doesn't work, or if it becomes flawed, we'll fix it. As for whether or not Mr. Tree is worthy of being the zone czar, I mean, I remember before the zone czar was our city planner or community development director, and they certainly weren't they were so rigidly adhered to the plan that there was more trouble with that than there was, I think, now you have one guy to deal with, as opposed to, you know, a bunch of mid-level before you even get to that level. As for somebody belittling the mayor, I'd really love to hear that conversation. I don't think too much of that. Plus, I was intrigued by the footbridge, swinging footbridge, which I had never heard of before. And the last thing has to do with homeless people. Now, listen, I feel like we do a lot, you know. It's never enough for some people, but I'm looking at the other side of the coin, because I got broken into twice in the last 2 months, you know what I mean, by homeless people. I know because they were witnessed. And basically they did $2,500 of damage to get a $5 radio. So where's my concern? Where's the concern for someone like me that's constantly being a victim? So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton.
Toss LA address on file. There's a lot of talk about the homeless situation. The reality is we can't afford the Armory. That's not the solution. That's a Band-Aid. A lot of people talk about how do we help these people. I hear a lot of people talk about drug use and it's their fault. And the reality is there's a lot of people in this community who aren't homeless that are drug users that have a problem. So that's not, drug use doesn't just exist on the streets. It's an issue in all jurisdictions. I'm sure you go to meetings. Everybody I talk to up and down the state, they're trying to deal with this. And some of the good ideas are recognizing not to villainize drug use, but to see it what it is. People just don't feel good or aren't comfortable or just need drugs to forget about the world they're living in or whatever it is. It's how they get by every day, right? So if we can see that compassion in them, then we can start seeing a solution versus what about me, what about meism? That just gets us throwing mud at each other. So that's what I hope when you have a position you do, and when you say things, they're elevated more than what I can say. So that's why I hope we just stop saying these bad people, these drug users, they don't want help. That's just not true. They don't know how to ask for help. Regular people don't know how to ask for help. Second, the growth we're talking about, we've got plenty of fast food coming in. I went to Taco Bell the other day, $17. Man, that's crazy. That is wild. The growth I'd like to see is the mom and pops. We lost Pizza Hut on Henderson. What came in? Slice. Mom and pop. Those are the people that support. Being on the chamber, we don't get a lot of sponsorship from these corporations. They don't do it. They don't put back. They just take. So, and that's not easy. That's going to take work. That takes things that the chamber and other organizations do to develop entrepreneurship. That takes partnerships with the city to create, all right, how can we get people to be entrepreneurs so that they know they can do it? Because they're in the city. They're here. They just need a little help. And the thing about people not wanting to open things, I've never seen a council that's not been business friendly. And you guys are just as business friendly. So when somebody wants to open something, if they run into something with the city, the council has the last say, is my understanding. And it can always come to you, is my understanding. And if that's the issue, then, but I've never seen you guys say no. It's always been conditional use permits. If something can't work, you can always override it with a conditional use permit. And that's always what it's been. So it's not about Mr. Tree. It's not about you guys. It's about setting a precedent to where somebody else, where the pendulum swings, and now we've got a whole different animal, and they've got these tools to do damage. That's the concern. And as far as the road, the tax you guys voted to write a letter against, we have a lot of electric vehicles, maybe not in this area, but in the state. And I would think that you guys would be okay with people paying their fair share, because we're losing gas taxes. That's what comes out. So this road, this mileage fee is about making up for the lost gas tax for the people in LA or San Francisco that are driving electric cars and not paying their share. So I found that quite interesting, how there's a fear of getting people to pay their share of what they use. And lastly, real quick on the downtown committee, since its inception, I've just noticed there's a lot of great ideas that come out of this downtown committee. You guys are not short of ideas, but there's no action. And when I see what the Redo It committee is, there's a lot of action. So I really hope there's a way to bring them together. I think there's this sense of competition when there should be collaboration. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Name's Lee Qualls. I want to talk about the city ordinance, the number 20. So there was a comment, and I'm all for getting more businesses here. I agree. We need more business. We need an in and out. I want an in and out. We need a Walmart DC. We need other businesses. I'm all for that because it grows our community, brings in more people, brings our revenue up. But I would be careful when we use the words like, we're not going to be bringing in businesses that will demoralize Porterville, because the truth of the matter is on that, there's already businesses here that demoralize Porterville to certain people. And that is our massage parlors that are still here, still active, still running after being raided. Those type of businesses we can do without. Those do nothing but promote STDs and broken marriages. So I'm all for bringing businesses in as long as we don't bring the ones that demoralize Porterville like we've already allowed in here. And I would honestly like to see those kind of get pushed out since they've already been proven to be running illegal stuff with prostitution. I would like to see those be pushed out, have their permits pulled or their city business license pulled due to prostitution. And if we get legitimate businesses in here, that's all good. We need more jobs in Porterville. But please don't let these kind in.
Mr. Qualls, if you know where one of those are and is open today, would you please leave your information with staff or PD in the back so they could get it to the chief?
Absolutely. It's the same ones
you
that got
you
raided
brought this
before.
up in the past,
Yeah.
and we rated those.
Yeah, they're still.
But if there is something you know of, because I don't, so if you'd share with staff, we'd greatly
I will.
appreciate it.
Every one of them that was raided is still operating.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Deborah Roman. I'd like to give a little background on exactly who I am. I'm the granddaughter of Mexican immigrants on both sides of my family, and we've resided in Porterville since 1922. We've been here a long time. I come from a family with a long line of military service going back to World War II, the Korean conflict, which is where my father served, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. I think you guys get the picture. I currently have immediate family members serving in our armed forces, so I would hope no one could ever deem me to be unpatriotic, because that's the first thing some people say, is that I hate America. In my opinion, it sounds like I'm not alone in my belief, and I agree that building a patriotic monument and even a battleship-themed playground is fiscally irresponsible, especially when we have issues like the armory closing and homeless left to fend for themselves, especially when it's in the low 40s during the night. What's Plan B? We also have a library that's an enormous need for our community. You know, as a lifelong Porterville resident and fiscally responsible person, I do not understand how funds can be spent frivolously. In my own home, priority would always be the welfare of my family and friends before I spend funds on luxury items. City Council should be fiscally responsible when it comes to everyone living within our city. Includes homeless and everybody else, people who can maybe use the playground, but I think it should be for everyone. And again, I believe in fiscal responsibility.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, if you're going to speak, please get up and get in line so that way we could keep rolling forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. There's Scott Bowler, address is on record. There's a lot in this 300-page agenda for this period. Just a quick question. I'm wondering if there's a way possible to put the pedestrian crosswalk's a perfect example. Pictures up on the screens so that the constituents can see it, people on YouTube can see it, because as we sit here and we go through that, they have to kind of like brainstorm to see where that's at. With the upcoming, the new community center, the library, you had brought up the code enforcement on the homeless. I saw that also. It would be, I think it would help. So it was just a question.
Gotcha, and I'll answer that in other matters. Okay, at that, I will close oral communication and move to other matters. Councilman Beltran.
Thank you, Pastor Qualls, for mentioning, kind of that hard line of dealing with addictions. Sometimes people need that tough love. It's been addressed several times. It's a hard one. I know I dealt with that in my family, and what it is it doesn't really ever take the first time. I mean, years, decades at times, and so that's kind of the frustration. But those aside, I work with the homeless. We just did our point-in-time count last Wednesday. And the hard ones that you come across are the people that didn't do anything wrong. Health issues, family dynamics. Those are so hard to look at and just say, we don't have an answer for you right now. And so you're right, it's not always popular to say, hey, some people need to be forced into treatment or being held accountable. So thank you for that. It's not a popular thing at sometimes, but there's the duality of being compassionate, but also, hey, kind of pushing them in the right direction for their own benefit, even though they don't see it at the time. So just thank you for that testimony. In regards to Mr. Shelton's development stuff, I don't know if most people know you own a lot of properties in the town. When are you going to develop something? You talk a lot about development, sir. You talk a lot about development.
Please don't direct that.
You don't develop. You flip properties, which that's your right. God bless you. You do well. But kind of to that point is we have a beautiful community center being built right now, and your property is right next to it. I hope to have a nice look there when people come, because this goes back to zoning and ordinances. You're allowed to have that. You're right. It's not a great look for people that come into our community and go, what is this next to this community center? These are those unforetold things that happen when development starts to expand. And so my hesitance isn't to deregulate, it's to do it strategically. And so as much as all the properties you talk about, you own them. When you criticize why things aren't being developed, the grocery store that's coming in, you sold that property to them. There's a lot of properties you own that we're going to change the zoning to that's going to come up on the item 20. You own a lot of properties in those areas. And God bless you but I'm just saying, you have a dog in the fight. It isn't just in general conversation. You have a dog in the fight. My dad was a city engineer for the city. When people keep saying nothing was developed, nothing came to our town, a lot came to our town. I know development pretty well. I know you're shaking your head. How did our population get to 60,000? It grows. And the great part is not everybody lives in the city of Porterville. Half our population doubles during any given work week. I've talked about that before with people coming into work and to school. And so, yeah, we do want more shopping, but I'm going to beat that dead horse. But I just want to tell you own a lot of properties. I haven't seen you develop
Please,
something, sir.
if you want to have a conversation with him, do it after the meeting, sir.
So anyhow, the other thing, briefly, thank you for people who volunteered for the point in time. It was great to see all those volunteers out there and really getting a good consensus for this next year's funding. And I plan to do another Q&A event. I've been doing them monthly, so look out on social media for another Q&A event. The last one I did was virtual. I just took questions and answered those and put out a video. And the last thing I'll end with is the last meeting, there was a lot of comments from this dais that just are not professional, aren't the leadership that I think our community is looking for. It's discouraging at times that we talk about, we need to get along and the discourse in our community, and it's really frustrating when certain phrases are being said to the community, whether it's bringing up their age, their race, their political affiliations, talking about, arresting kids. I get the sentiment of we want to have things in our community work well, but it's really hard for me to sit here as an elected leader to hear that coming from this seat when we're supposed to be showing respect, courtesy, empathy, and just be stoic up here. I mean, don't let things get to us. I know there's some personal jabs at times, but we're always here just to do the city's business and not to kind of divide each other up here. And it's really, for people that, reached out to me to ask me what's going on, I don't have an answer for you. I conduct myself the way I do, and it's disappointing to hear that coming from this when we're talking about leadership, we talk about direction. A lot of it is not what we're showing up here. And so that's not how I feel about you guys, our constituents. That's not how I feel about the fixie riders. Yeah, there's a way to address it, but I wouldn't use those terms. And so it's just disappointing again to kind of hear that from up here. And so I'm just very disappointed in that.
Thank you, Councilman Beltran. Councilman Rivas.
Well, where do I start? I'm just going to make it very simple. Thank you all for coming out and giving me your opinions and your concerns about where the city should be going. And I will take that into consideration in my judgment and my voting. But, we all have a community to protect. And we're here to ensure that the city goes in the right direction, be that as it may zoning, be that as it may with the schools or the crossings and so on and so forth. We take a lot of heat from a lot of people that get, in my opinion, misdirections, misinformation, and delusional opinions. So with that, I'm just going to keep it short. I look forward to the next meeting, and hopefully we can move the city on the right direction. And in regards to the massage parlors, those were enacted before I became council, so I have no power over that. I do know that there were actions taken against them, and due to that would go through a process which has not come through my hands, so I can take a look at that. But if it does happen again and they are in violation, I would entertain that thought of, going in that direction. But with that, you know, I understand your concerns, and I do side with you on that. And, but I have the utmost confidence in the city manager and the staff that he works with and who he's working with. And I do trust the council members up here in regards to bringing the city back to its luster. And for the most part, on another note, I have been asked by people from Los Angeles that they want to build a skate arena here, but because of the zoning, the division does it's too restricted. And not only that, you know, the other businesses want to come, but they just get turned away and they get disinterested. So I want to change that because I owe it to you, I owe it to my grandchildren, and I owe it to my council members when we want to move this city forward. And the transparency, by all means, that is the utmost. So with that, sir, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Councilman Rivas. Councilman Green?
Yeah, I think I'd like to address everybody in the audience, because in previous meetings, you know, we've had, the vitriol was getting pretty, the volume was getting up quite a bit, and there was a lot of slings and arrows flying around and some disrespectful stuff, but I want to just comment, everybody tonight, this was a very pleasant, very respectable meeting. Everybody was just, I mean, very well behaved tonight, and thank you all for that. I appreciate it.
Did you just endorse me getting called a fascist?
No.
Okay, all right.
I would never do that, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor McCurvey.
Well, I want to make a motion tonight, but I want to say a few things first. I think we've made a lot of great, real progress on the homeless issue in a lot of different ways and from a lot of different points of view. We heard tonight a lot of different things. There's this idea about fiscal responsibility. I'm going to just reflect back and say, how about selective fiscal responsibility? We should have shut the armory down last year if we were fiscally responsible, but we kept it open. And we spent $350,000 because we were being compassionate. And there's a whole bunch of people in this city don't like that. And I think that we were trying to make the right decision, and I think we did. And remember, we are still putting out $2 million to the Navigation Center. And we are still doing a lot of things for the homeless, and it's making a lot of great progress. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for your comments tonight. Everyone has a different point of view on this. And you know, it's interesting because, you know, I loved punk rock when I was a kid. You know, put on a punk rock show and raise some money for the homeless, man. Get out there and put your shoulder to the wheel. It's not this council's job to fix that problem. It's all of our problem. And I think that what I want to say is I wrote about this in an article late last year. There's a psychology thing. It's called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, and it's abuse of children. But there's another one that's emerging now. It's Munchausen syndrome by surrogacy, which means people get hyped up on trying to take care of other people. And it's a problem. And we have a lot of people out there that saying, hey, we got to go help this group, or we got to go help that group, and we got to do all this stuff, but you got to go do it. Well, let's all pull together and let's do it together. And let's make sure that we're working together on this, because it's not a one-way street, and it takes the whole community to take care of this problem. And I think we've done a darn good job of that, and it's trending in the right direction. The motion that I want to make, and I know, Taha, I know how sensitive you are about how I talk, whatever. I love your yellow hat. The thing is, we know what Paul Flores is going to say. He comes in here with his Gatling gun and he shoots everybody down. I mean, he's crazy. There's no doubt about it. But the tone has been a lot better. And the motion that I want to make is that as we transition from sunsetting the armory, and it's something we need to do, I want to make a motion, this council set aside some money, give to the Porterville Rescue Mission that is helping us out there. And we have $100,000 in this council that we set aside every year in the budget. And last year, a lot of complaints about money that was spent on a bus and this and that. we gave $80,000 back to the city, which would have more than paid for half that stuff you guys complain about. And so, get some perspective on that, please, when we talk about selective fiscal responsibility. And I would just say this. We got some money to spend this year. I think I would make a motion that, and I don't know if it has to go on the next agenda, but I'd like to.
It would, so it would
As
go
a
into a
schedule
budget
matter.
item, so it would be but the implication is it's going to be put on an agenda item. but
I'm
yeah.
not going to say amount, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to think about it, and then we can come back and talk about it as a group. But let's think about giving back to them, because something I learned about the Porterville Rescue Mission and spending time down there and serving with them is that there's a whole bunch of people that don't want to go to the rescue mission where they can get the best help. Too many rules. Let's help them, because they're helping save souls, and they're making a big difference down there. And let's try to help the other guys by putting pressure on them, saying, hey, why don't you give it a shot? Maybe you don't end up in jail, but maybe you need to go over there and make some sacrifices and make some changes, because there's a lot of people willing to help, but they got to be willing to be helped. And so let's be real about this issue. And I want to leave it there.
Okay, so you have a motion on the table?
Well, I'm just going to make a motion to come back and talk about how much we may give to the Porterville Rescue Mission out of the city council.
Would you like that on, if you want that on the agenda for next meeting?
Yes.
As a scheduled matter?
Yeah, go ahead and make a motion and we'll.
So
add
there's
it.
a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll just call for the vote.
Is there a comment time?
Go ahead.
I figure we do it at scheduled matters in the next meeting, but
Well,
go ahead, sir.
because the next meeting, then we're going to allot money. However, we don't know what their needs are. It'd be really.
I had a meeting with them. If you want to talk with me offline, I can give you what some of their
Well, I
needs
think all
are.
of us should be aware of what their needs are to figure out that
If you don't
dollar
want
amount.
if you don't want to vote for it, that's fine. But let's bring it back.
Okay, there's a first and a second.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, the leadership. I was just asking a question and you get short. What's wrong with asking a question? All I was just saying,
There's going to be a public hearing in the next meeting. We can
But
talk.
It'll be a scheduled matter, but the staff will be directed to go find out that information.
that's not
for
what
us.
the motion was. Clarification. Is there a problem with clarification with this council? If you're talking about transparency, I'm just asking a
Yeah,
question.
we were working together, but you just always got to say negative stuff.
Okay. We have a first and a second.
more you
Let's
talk.
call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rivas,
Aye.
Councilmember Green,
Aye.
Councilmember Beltran,
Aye.
Vice Mayor McCurvey,
Aye.
Mayor Meister.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Are you done, Vice Mayor?
I'm done.
Okay. Well, does someone just clap right now? That's great. Okay, so wanted to address a couple things. One, getting called a fascist is so rich coming from a socialist who pushed his socialist agenda tonight saying, we need to take the money from all the government agencies, put them in one pot, and we're going to hand them out, distribute it to the poor, and, however he's going to fix this thing. And I'll tell you, I think socialism has led to a lot of deaths. I think you should do your research, AI it. And I think socialism started and then it became fascism. Maybe socialist, fascist, something like that. I mean, try AI. Maybe you'll find something out. Okay, with that, I really want to thank Mr. Qualls tonight. He came out, he told his testimony, and that's not easy. It is not easy to get up and talk in front of the people and tell what happened in your life. And I really appreciate the fact that he would admit that it was an officer that got him into that warm bed, got a mill in his stomach, maybe even helped with medical aid, right? I don't know what your situation was like, but you got these homeless out on the streets that got rashes and haven't showered, and they get that true compassion that I tried talking about the last one. And then also you break the abuse of addiction. And I know that not every situation is perfect. There's drugs in the jails. I get it. I understand that. But we have to enforce the laws of this city. That's our duty. If you don't enforce the laws, then you just have chaos. And so we don't want chaos. I also want to thank Mr. Qualls 2 years ago, you came in and you brought up the prostitution rings here in town. And we busted 2 or 3 of them. And I wasn't aware of them. And if I really would appreciate it if you gave those addresses or locations to our city staff so that we can get them addressed. I also would like to add, this notion of the armory closing, and we're not doing, the city is still spending $2 million at the Navigation Center. We're still providing services. We're building showers and restrooms. There are showers and restrooms there now. I don't know the exact number today, but I know we're serving around 100 to 150 meals a day. So it's not like we're just abandoning them. We're still providing services. $2 million is a lot of money for a small city like ours. With that, want to end tonight? Mr. Tree, we are 4 minutes till 9 o'clock, and I said this meeting would be over at 9.
I got 4 minutes, Mayor, then.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll use all 4 minutes. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to the council for recognizing my father tonight, and also recognizing Councilman Beltran for establishing the flag program. Did not expect that, my dad would be the first recipient of it, but very special. Thank you, Councilman Beltran. Thank you for the council for recognizing him tonight. I really appreciate it on behalf of the entire Tree family. I also want to recognize and say thanks to Lori Halleck, who has filled in. Yeah.
Mr. Tree, I have to interrupt you because I gave my word that I'd answer a question earlier, and I didn't. So, Mr. Boiler, you asked about why we're not showing it. We actually have pushed an initiative to start showing that as we're talking about it, go through the agenda, show the pictures of what's going on. But Fernando is in the process of getting another child. I don't know how.
He had one.
All right. Congratulations, Fernando, if you're watching. Hope everybody's healthy. So, Lori, like our city manager just was saying, has stepped in tonight. You did an outstanding job. City manager, take it back over, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, excellent job, Lori. You did fantastic. Thank you so much. I did want to let the community know that the Heritage Committee is meeting on February 9th at 4 p.m. if you'd like to get involved. Excellent work is coming out of that committee. On the 11th at 5 p.m., the mayor and I and some staff are going to meet with a good group of developers to discuss our development ordinance update. I'm really looking forward to engaging with these developers to get their feedback on the direction that we're going, and then I hope, and that's the desire of the council, is to bring this update back to the council for adoption very soon. So exciting on that front. I'm also excited about the podcast. We've been with the council, staff is following council's direction to find ways to be more transparent, and we're doing that. We're going to be discussing complex, projects and decisions. There's an opportunity to get to know the staff better, the directors and the frontline employees, where we can talk about road projects. Each council member is going to have the opportunity to have their own session or title, whatever segment that they want to call it, like walking with the mayor or hanging out with Councilman Rivas, and we're just talking about whatever he would like to talk about. I think it's just going to be amazing. I'm really excited. I've wanted this for a long time. As I close, I want to highlight our Parks and Leisure Department. This week, they started for the entire community to participate in the Shamrock Shape Up. It's $20. You get a free T-shirt. No medals, though. Yuli and I are pretty upset about no medals this year. But get fit, have fun with the community, and track your minutes. Youth baseball registration begins tomorrow.
There you go.
You get a medal if you have 1,000 minutes of exercise.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to get a medal, but for all the baseball fans, we got youth baseball registration opening up tomorrow, and then on the 6th, virtual bingo coming, and then closing. You guys just heard the news, but last week on Friday, Fern's family welcomed a baby boy. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, with that, The meeting's adjourned at 9 o'clock.
No, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.